Welcome back. Who doesn't need a sweet treat to serve on Easter Sunday? Brian Hart Hoffman, oh, he's always got you covered.
Yes, he's the editor-in-chief of Bake From Scratch magazine. He recently released an incredible book filled with hundreds of delicious recipes. It's called Bake From Scratch Volume 3, and he stopped by our kitchen to share a hummingbird bundt cake with us. Take a look. I have to say, this is a cake that I haven't tried, but it is one of my favorites. We're doing a hummingbird cake, Brian.
We are. So this is the relaxed version of the Southern layer cake that is decadent with cream cheese, buttercream all over it. I mean, it's amazing.
And I gotta say, I remember this from when my mom would do it, and if you don't do this one right, it can get real soupy.
It can, because the nice thing about hummingbird cakes is they're rarely dry and crumbly because they have so much moisture from the fruit that goes in them.
Okay.
But before we get started, I want to talk about the beauty of baking in bundt pans.
Okay.
So this is a really simple stir together recipe, no mixer on the countertop today.
Right.
And we're using a beautiful bundt pan that gives you a beautiful shape once it's baked in the cake pan.
Yeah.
But what you don't want to do is ever spray this with cooking spray.
What?
The pans are made with a non-stick coating that works beautifully with baking spray with flour or flour and butter, but cooking spray is a damaging spray to this pan.
I didn't know
so
that.
People will say my bundt cakes stick, they don't turn out beautifully. And I always ask, do you use baking spray or cooking spray? No to the cooking spray.
The baking spray that has the flour in it.
Baking spray and flour is perfect.
There you go, everybody. Okay.
So here's another trick we're going to do. We're going to take chopped pecans and we're just going to scatter them in the bundt pan. When the batter goes in, this is going to bake into a beautiful crown of pecans that you'll see when we get to the end of baking.
Clever.
So instead of mixing this into the batter, we're doing something interesting and different.
I love this.
All right, now the two ingredients that we have are dry ingredients and our wet ingredients.
Okay.
You rarely mix sugar in with the flour, but for this recipe, we did.
Okay,
so
why?
you can
What
whisk
does
it
that
together. Well, it just gets it incorporated here, so when we bring the fruit and the wet ingredients in, you already have the sugar evenly distributed.
Got it.
I'm adding baking soda, baking powder, and salt. You always salt baked goods. It helps to enhance the flavor. You're not going to get a bitter taste from it.
Okay.
And then here's some warmth with cinnamon and nutmeg.
Got it.
And this is not going to taste like autumn. So a lot of people say, oh, that flavor profile might lean towards autumn. With the cream cheese icing, it's going to be perfect for spring or any time.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's
Love
a Southerner's favorite.
We do like it.
All right, so over here I have 3 bananas that I've mashed.
Okay.
And to that I'm going to add 3 eggs.
Beautiful.
Some canola oil. So no butter. Right, so this cake does not have butter in it. And the oil also helps to keep it very moist and won't dry out when it's baking.
Okay, what kind was that?
And
Just regular milk?
just whole milk and vanilla extract.
Okay.
And
Now,
you
I
just
think
take a
that's
spoon and
interesting.
work all of this together.
I've never really done the canola oil before because I feel like we're so familiar with vegetable oil. That's what we would lean toward. Will the canola give it a different flavor?
Any neutral oil, so you could use a vegetable oil, you could use a sunflower oil.
Okay.
It really is just wanting to get the moisture that will be in the cake from the oil.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right, so
It's all
now that
coming
you've
together.
got these, let's make a well in the center. And I use my hands when I bake because I've washed hands. And then to that, we bring in all of the deliciousness that you get with the banana, the oil, the eggs.
All the pro tips.
And
all the
then
pro
just
tips.
take your wooden spoon and
Mix it
start
together.
mixing it together.
Now, we've talked about this in the past when you've come to visit, but you say get it together. You don't want to overmix. A lot of people overmix.
You know, I think people feel like they've got to stir, stir. You don't have to. You can even have a few flakes of the flour still showing. That's a good indicator you haven't overmixed.
Okay.
If you overmix, you're going to start developing the gluten, which we do not want. That's what you want for bread. And so we want this to have a gentle, soft crumb when it's cut. And so you just want to bring it together.
So if people are making cakes at home and they are getting them, they're really dry, part of that might be the overmixing.
Overmixing is a common culprit. All right.
I've learned so much every time you come.
So then we're going to take the bowl and just spread the batter over the pecans. I mean, and it smells so good with the spices and the bananas. And then we've got one more fruit to add because the hummingbird cake is traditionally made with pineapple, banana, and pecan. And we're just bringing them in different ways. So go ahead and put the pineapple over that.
Okay, are we just pouring the whole
Just
thing?
scatter it over, yep.
Okay. So this is like like a pineapple upside down?
Yeah, a little bit. And what we're going to do is once we have that in there, I'm going to take the offset spatula or just any spatula in the kitchen, and I'm going to work the pineapples down into the batter.
Okay.
And I'm going to mix them just a little bit so that they don't burn sitting on the top of the cake, which will become the bottom.
Look at that.
And then this will go into the oven for 55 minutes to an hour.
Okay.
But I always advise you to start checking about 10 minutes prior to that time we say. So about 45 minutes in, you're wanting to make sure that it's not over baking, but a toothpick inserted comes out clean.
I love this. Okay, this is your final product. It's
Yep,
gorgeous.
and there's the crown of
what
pecans.
What are we doing here?
All right, this is a cream cheese frosting. This
Yes,
is
it
that
is.
Southerner's dream
Yes,
of the
it
hummingbird
is.
cake with cream cheese.
Oh, look how
And
pretty.
you just let it drizzle down the sides.
This is just one of the incredible recipes that you are going to find in the 3rd edition of Brian's book. This is Bake. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
This is one of my favorite cakes, and I am excited to take a little taste of it. Everybody, bake from scratch. You need to go get this copy. Give it to all your friends, neighbors. We're going to eat some cake.
We are. It's time to eat. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.